Okay. So, welcome those of you in the room, as well as those of you on Zoom. Again, the Conservancy's been working to sort of get as many people engaged in this process as possible, and having both in-person and Zoom technology through these crazy times of the pandemic has been important. So again, and as well, people who couldn't make the meeting, we do record these meetings and they're on our website in reasonably quick time turnaround. So again, anyone who you know who would like to catch up on the conversation, direct them to our website. So welcome to this is the Q2 meeting of the Olmsted Community Alliance for the South District, District 2. And we've been sort of going at this for a little bit of time. Again, these are going to be quarterly meetings, ongoing, to sort of keep the conversation between the community, the Conservancy, and the city moving. In terms of the agenda for the day, always a slow start to slide advancement with this technology for some reason. Just doesn't. Here we go. So I'm just going to do, again, just sort of reinforcing what is the purpose of this Olmsted Community Alliance, and then dive into what everyone's really interested in, the update on the ongoing projects. We do try and work in a little bit of information, broadening the information we give you about the Conservancy and our coordination with the city. So we're going to have a brief presentation from the development team talking about specifically the year 2022 and why that's going to be a big year for us. Then again, opening it up. We've had again several meetings where park issues and concerns have been brought up. So I've again, we take the notes, put the minutes out, and then do some work and try and get some responses to those concerns as they come up, but then also try and leave time for new concerns as well. And then we'll talk about next steps. So diving right in. So really, it's a very simple purpose for this effort, but it's really just about strengthening the relationship between the community, the constituents, the stakeholders, and the Conservancy, the maintainers and advocates, the City of Buffalo, owners and maintainers as well. The objectives is just about open dialogue and you guys representing your community concerns, focused around the 5-year plan, which again, we've talked about, we will continue to talk about. This is really trying to set a 5-year set of priorities for what we're going to fundraise for, what improvements we want to make, what's most concerning to the people in this room and on Zoom, and how can we put our energy together to fundraise for those things. So we go through that process every 5 years. Also, just increasing awareness and outreach, and then really sort of driving people to our community outreach manager here, Zach Garland, and stewardship and volunteer opportunities to sort of get involved in the work of the Conservancy. Again, I do this 5 times in a row, 5 Wednesdays in a row, in each of our Olmsted communities. Here we are in South Cas-Hecock District 2. So we're bringing the information out, but again, your role is to be the ambassador, raise the concerns of your community, recruit more people into this process, and again, get involved. So pretty simple, but very important. In terms of the people you're going to get to know, here is sort of my team, Director of Planning, Zach Garland, our Community Outreach Manager, and Z, our Marketing Communications Specialist. They help me sort of make sense of all of this work and also make the technology work. As we continue to sort of broaden the awareness, you will see people from time to time. We've got a couple folks in this room today. Our Executive Director, Stephanie Crockett. In the back, we've got Greg Robinson, our Director of Park Administration, with a fresh photograph up here.
Yeah, I like that. Good job.
We got Katie Stevenson, our Director of Development, and Bob Stotz, our Director of Operations, also in the back of the room. In terms of your district, you've got Jimmy Coyle, District Supervisor. He is here. Let's give a round of applause for Jimmy. And his two right-hand, I don't know how you say that, right and left-hand man, Brian Jenkins, foreperson, and Dennis Martinez, his foreperson. Again, system-wide, especially golf. Chris Carroll handles sort of front end of our golf management. Pat McIntyre taking care of our courses out there as superintendent. And down in District 2, we've got our wonderful South Park Arboretum and its curator, Margaret Lapp, who you're going to hear from in a second. But then also system-wide work. We've got forestry manager, Mike Sawyer, facilities manager, Riley Tarr, and then our circles and plantings, which obviously grace this district, Eileen Martin. So these are all people you're going to get to meet, people you're going to get to know, and hopefully the idea is you really get to know them and feel like there's a level of partnership going on in our work and effort. So with that as an introduction, going to move on to the 5-year plan. Again, this is a planning effort that happened a couple years ago. We're kind of in the middle of in terms of the implementation, while also beginning the planning for the next round. So 5 years goes faster than you can think in terms of preparation, implementation, planning for the next. Kind of always doing it. So we figured, why not just keep the meetings rolling and going with progress. So first project going to get to hear about going to be our South Park Arboretum update, and I'm going to let Margaret run through some slides to give you the lowdown on where things stand with that. Margaret, welcome up.
Brian. Okay, hi everybody. It's wonderful that you could join us this evening. Thank you so much for your time. Very much appreciated. I'm absolutely thrilled to be here with you. If you don't know much about the Arboretum, I'm just going to give you a quick update as it relates, as Brian said, to the capital project progress. But let's start by taking in this beautiful Arboretum and kind of identifying a working definition. So when you think about an Arboretum, I think a good working definition is a living museum of trees. And one of the things that set us apart throughout this COVID pandemic that we've been experiencing is the fact that we've had the opportunity to stay open to the public. How many of you like to walk in the Olmsted park system? Me too, very much so. So what I'm going to tell you about tonight real quickly is just the improvements that we made at South Park to help enhance the safety of the park. That's part of phase 1 restoration work that we're doing there, and really to kind of share what's next, what's coming up in phase 2. So the purpose, heart, and soul of an Arboretum, can anyone guess?
This is to be like an outdoor museum of like different species of trees and plants and stuff.
Yes, exactly. The collection. Very well done.
Thank you.
So this collection is really paramount to the future of not just our health and well-being, but also to our ecosystem. And really the purpose, heart, and soul is to save, understand, and interpret plants. And that's kind of where we're headed with this phasing. So for those of you who are not familiar, in 2016, we embarked upon a process to identify whether there was feasibility to restore this historic cultural landscape to its world-class glory. So they were working off of 1895 planting plans, and we have a lot of great material to be able to evaluate and assess whether this restoration is possible. So I'm not going to get into all of it. I just want to kind of give you that overview and give you a few key numbers. So in 2018 dollars, when this feasibility study was completed, the overall project was slated at $13.7 million. So don't be alarmed that we're breaking that down into smaller pieces. And I am I'll be happy to report a little bit on phase 1 and how that's almost complete. We are just days or weeks away. This is my favorite tree out at South Park. It's the Liriodendron tulipifera. It's one of the trees that was pruned as part of this greater phase 1 effort. And phase 1 restoration, the purpose was to improve safety of the park. Okay, so you might be asking yourself, well, what do you mean? So anyone familiar with deadwood? Have you seen? Okay, so some of you understand kind of that functionality. So we're really fortunate to have a lot of mature, beautiful, majestic trees out at South Park, some of which are considered Olmsted originals. So they've been around for over 100 years, like our elms and our oaks. But unfortunately, over the years, as is natural and normal, decay has set in some of our trees. There's also some deadwood. You can see in the far right here, I could put my hand into the cavity of some of the trees. So I just wanted to kind of outline what some of the problems or problematic issues that we are looking at heading into phase one. So these are just some quick updates. If you take a walk in South Park, the oaks here that are leafed out, this is a picture from early last summer. Don't they look fabulous?
Yeah.
They really do. So to that end, we've pruned 501, give or take, trees, which is wonderful. Also, we've removed about 200 trees. Some folks may find that a little alarming, but I do want to point out that this was a very old, the Arboretum, the first plantings went in the late 1800s, like 1899 was that big push before it was open to the public. So we were dealing with a lot of invasive trees like buckthorn that are, were hazardous, dead. We had a lot of standing dead ash, things of that nature. So those were removed. And then we also we worked with Bradley Tree in landscaping. They did a fabulous job we contracted with them to do this work. And so about 50 tree stumps were ground out and removed as well. So I just want to show you, in case you didn't see the action, there's a lot of great work being done. And we specifically chose the dormant months. That's the best time to do any type of tree work because it doesn't disturb the tree. They're kind of in that dormant state. It's the less invasive time to do it. So this is just the spider lift with our amazing Bradley crew along South Park Lake, getting in there, pruning, and then we have a tree worker on the far right there. Okay, so phase one is nearly complete. We just have a few more. If you've seen the orange flags out at South Park, they're just the remaining stumps that need to be filled in with topsoil and seeded with grass. So we're really, really close, which is super exciting. And even more exciting is that we're heading into phase two of this restoration work. So phase two is, there's a few different components to it. I want to highlight the fact that we're really going to be expanding our collection. So new plantings to include the locust, holly, linden, and magnolia families. And if you're familiar, the magnolias are out here along South Park Avenue. We also have, the holly here, the linden along Ring Road. So it's really breathing new life into the Arboretum. So while, we've taken away the dead and diseased, we're bringing in new, which is really exciting. And then we're also working toward the installation of the historic strolling paths north of South Park Lake. So that kind of sounds like a quandary, right? But up in here will be the historic plan for South Park included these strolling pathways so that folks could get a, kind of that up and personal contact with the flora and fauna. We'll also be working toward the establishment of a nursery complex, and that is along the that's in the southwest corner of the park. And that is also a historic nod to the original nursery area. So that is another way that we're going to be breathing life into this Arboretum. We'll have the opportunity to save costs on propagating plants, and it's a huge win for us. We'll also be creating a picnic area, and that grew out of the great work that Brian did in the past with all of you. And that's why I can't stress enough how grateful I am that you're here. Truly, it's important for us to get your feedback. And that was one of the pieces of feedback that we received, is that you'd like to see more areas for congregation, that kind of thing. So this is a tall order, but we're committed, definitely dedicated to seeing this through. And I very much appreciate your support. And yeah, let's continue the conversation.
Perfect. Yeah, any comments or questions anyone have regarding this project?
So like, well, when you asked like, what is an arboretum? My basis was like, I used to live near an arboretum in Ohio, like Holden Arboretum.
Right.
So I don't know, like, what's the vision of this? Is this going to be something like an attraction that people are going to come to, or is it really? I guess like, yeah, what is the vision of like what if we ever get to? I think how many phases are like 5 phases in this? So like, what is the vision of having a South Park Arboretum?
Sure. May I ask your name?
Oh, Simon Houston,
Simon, you
54
are
Hayden
like,
Street.
you get the gold star for tonight.
Thank
Thank you
you.
for that excellent question. So really, it is definitely to bring in not only local, visitors and to really engage, for instance, educational groups, young people, really people of all ages. And that's part of our greater effort to achieve our net level 3 accreditation status. And that sounds kind of like a bunch of jumbly words, but the bottom line is that puts us back on the map and establishes us as a world-class arboretum that is growing. And in order to get to that level, one of the components is education. So, continuing to do great work with our communications team to get the word out, tell you more about trees, come on plant walks, things of that nature, but also to grow that. And yes, to answer your question quite simply, yes, we do want to bring in tourism from the greater Western York area and even beyond. So that, if you're interested, there's more information on that was conducted as part of the feasibility study. Great question.
All right, well, this is going to continue to be a conversation, I think.
Thanks, guys.
All right, great. One sort of connected project to the larger Arboretum effort is a project to sort of have had a focus on improving our facilities identified within the 5-year plan. And within South Park, the South Park Golf Clubhouse, we are envisioning serving a dual role in terms of its redevelopment as also sort of that visitor center starting point for your Arboretum experience. So again, just sort of the goal of fixing up facilities for their existing use, but also sort of maximizing their value is an opportunity we identified at South Park Clubhouse, and great to report that not only the $200,000 identified through Erie County, which I was able to report at our last meeting, but we received nearly $100,000 worth of design development funds to do a complete redesign and facility assessment of this structure. So that grant was awarded just earlier this year. And through Q2 and Q3, we're going to be again fleshing out that design development work. Exciting, be able to sort of bring back in our next meeting some progress on that effort in terms of floor plans and seeing exactly what we're planning for the interior and the exterior of the building to improve it. Just from a simple ADA accessibility, restroom, quality, comfort, ability to sort of clean and maintain, but also some sort of new ideas in terms of the use of the building. So great to report that, and then sort of moving that through design development and planning for construction next year in 2023. Clubhouse. I'll go through a few projects here at South Park and then pause if anyone has any questions or comments as we go. Another big project moving forward in South Park is South Park Lake Bridge. This has been in severe disrepair for quite some time, and the funding has been sort of slowly getting lined up. I think I was able to report at our last meeting, again, city had just secured some funding through the New York Bridge funding source to sort of completely fund not only the design and the construction. They're currently wrapping up their memorandum of agreement with New York State. Because it's a bridge, because there are guardrails, because it's transportation. New York State Department of Transportation is involved in this process, and so they're moving from sort of design development. Once we get the sort of paperwork in place, then we'll be able to move on to detailed design. They did have an open house for this project I think a couple weeks after our last meeting. I don't know if any of you were able to make it there, but we're going to continue to bring the information we have to this meeting in terms of how detailed design rolls out. But again, very exciting to see this project moving forward before it really needs to happen. Close the bridge or something to that level. So with that, I think we are through some major projects here in South Park. So if anyone has any questions about those projects, yeah.
No, I just want to say, we've seen a lot of bridges, being repaired, replaced, whatever lately. And I have to say, I'm really impressed that that a lot of times we're doing it with the mindset of keeping pedestrian and bicycle access open during the construction, or trying to. And I would hope that if we do this project, that the same would be provided. Like, I'm amazed at what they're doing on the South Ogden Bridge, which is in the Lovejoy district. But even still, I was quite fanatic that like they're building a temporary pedestrian bridge for mostly, of course, there's the charter school students, but like it's just, the accommodations they're trying to make, because it's hard, for a car you can just go, round, but for a bicyclist or a pedestrian, it's almost like forget it, I give up.
Certainly. Yeah, so those will be things we'll be able to talk about once we get to the detailed design phase. They start thinking about construction and implementation.
Yeah.
So look forward to that at future meetings. But yeah, again, another project fully funded to move forward. Here's some close up of that bridge and its current condition. Obviously, there's a lot of historic integrity and historic elements to be documented. But again, a lot of sort of deterioration over time. But we're going to be able to sort of use this as we do a real historic reconstruction project. And then here was that public meeting I was able to advertise last meeting. So again, there's going to be opportunities where, again, this meeting is very much a very, machine gun of all the projects to keep you all engaged. But there are going to be other meetings in between these meetings. We'll be able to advertise, share information, and again, just getting the word out is the key. Exciting things happening over in Casanova Park. So our council member was able to secure funds through, again, this Erie County funding coming through from the sort of federal relief package.
We'd be remiss not to mention Erie County Legislator John Gilmore really earmarked
John
this
Gilmore.
funding. Yes, he worked with the council member to identify what we needed, and they worked together.
Great.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, so we've got significant resources secured to reconstruct the playground in Casanova Park. This again, the paperwork is in process with Erie County. Once we get that locked in, we're anticipating having a design workshop specifically about this project sometime between now and our next meeting. So look forward to that. That again will be advertised through our regular channels, and we hope again you all can share that information widely to help us get people together. Specifically, those park users that are going to be really invested in the playground. I mean, I can have my opinions about what a playground should be, but we should probably get the users engaged. So we're going to use a model that we successfully went through in Martin Luther King Park a few years back. We did a sort of community input process to redesign a sort of new universally accessible playground in MLK Park. Again, we're going to have this design workshop. I did want to sort of open up the conversation and sort of start talking about the elements of this as a great example and a sort of a learning process in terms of what worked and what didn't. But again, we're thinking about elements that are universally accessible. This means accessible by wheelchair, fully handicap accessible to portions of the playground resources. So sort of features such as that, but again, more fun, interesting slides. Looking at facilities for, again, that not only that 5 to 12 age group, that get the big stuff, but the 2 to 5 age group that get the smaller stuff. And again, equipment focused on that age group. Of course, swings, but thinking about, baby swings, adult swings, accessible swings. Again, thinking about access to those features with special treatments. But again, other features like these little spirally things. I meant to look up the names of all this stuff. They've all got cool names. This is one that sort of spins around. Then we've got things like this fun sway. Yeah, sway fun. It's sway fun. And also handicap accessible. It's a glider. Yeah, it's like glides back and forth. Again, other cool, unique features that do different things. And then some sort of tactile elements. These create music and things like that. So a lot of cool stuff. Again, we're going to sort of engage in this sort of workshop process, but if anyone had any sort of general thoughts to sort of get the ball rolling with regard to the playground, to open it up for a moment before we move on to that sort of workship level. Yeah,
and I hate raising my hand, but I just like, the farmers market, we have like a kids day. I don't know if it's like it within that timeline, but if it was like community engagement, because I don't know, the farmers market I think starts in June, and I don't even think the kids day is like until.
It's the first week of August, but I do think.
Rachel would know.
Oh, I'm Peggy, but
Okay,
I do
yes,
think,
right.
that's okay, we look alike actually, but I do think, truthfully, whenever you host this, as long as you let us know, I think we're gonna get huge engagement. And I really do, I think, just people I've mentioned it to are so excited at the idea of an ADA playground, and a new playground that I would be shocked if that meeting isn't well attended.
Great. Yeah. I mean, there are some realities, and again, we're going to continue to work with the details of exactly how this process rolls out. Due to I think COVID and a lot of other influences, the lag time on once we sort of lock in this design and getting that equipment on site is currently like 4 to 5 months. So again, we're going to manage expectations through the process, and to sort of make sure if we can schedule it so that we're not tearing apart a playground right in the middle of summer. So the kids can get maybe one last good year out of this existing playground. We're going to continue to work through the schedule and stuff. So I think there'll be plenty of opportunities to make conversations line up. But it sounds like no matter when we have that meeting, it'll be a good one. So unless there's any other questions about that, a project, right? Yeah.
All right. One
Oh,
quick one, sorry, I'll
yeah.
come back. Can you offer just compared to MLK Park, the scope of the project? Is that going to be a similar size playground to the one you have at MLK, or can you just, I guess, speak to what we could be working with?
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to. Once we get into the process, sort of see what people like. Certain things cost more than other things, so see how far we can stretch the money. But based on the money that we have in place, it's going to be a well-funded playground project. So I anticipate it's going to be a lot of cool stuff, probably at least on that level of the MLK project. But again, it's going to be sort of part of that conversation about what makes up the pieces of it. Project moving forward currently is the Casanova Pathway project. Again, it's a project we've talked about for a couple meetings now. Since our last meeting, City of Buffalo did sort of make its final determination. There was some sort of back and forth about what components were going to be in or out of the project. And they have confirmed that the project as originally designed, with the sort of removal of the staircases and that short stretch of redundant pathway along the creek edge, noted in red, are going to come out as part of this project. But as a part of the 5-year plan, these are resources that comprise about 50% of our anticipated fundraising for pathway reconstruction within Cas Park. So we're hopeful to raise more money to do more pathway work, and continue to engage you guys in the where and the what of that project. This one is moving forward, and should be exciting. So I know Jimmy's certainly going to be happy with the condition of that path and his ability to maintain it properly as a result of this project. Again, these are some of the photos of that current condition. Unmaintainable edges, narrow paths, you can't get equipment down it. A lot of issues, and that sort of realignment process is going to maintain all connections, all components of the or areas of the park, but remove again some old non-historic features. Cruising through various projects, the Casanova Casino facility condition assessment. These are again resources that our councilman got through HUD, dedicated to this project. This is going to give us a sort of complete assessment and sort of potential user analysis of the casino building. This project bids are due, or proposals are due on this project today. So city should have those in hand. I know they did a walkthrough of the facility a couple of weeks ago. It had six construction firms participate, so we're anticipating some competitive bids, and that is very exciting. So again, that is going to really give us a full idea, sort of wrap our hands around what this building can be, what it currently is, and what needs to happen to fix it up and create more use and activity around it. Signage system-wide. So again, we've got funding to update the manual for the park system and update all of our signage standards and fully implement not only rehabbing the existing signs, but bringing in additional signs for wayfinding and interpretation of elements. One very exciting part about this was at the last meeting, we had some questions about historic signage. So I got my research team to work, and it's good questions to ask. Is what were the signs like historically? What's the sort of progression? How did we get to here? And I found out some things I didn't know, which basically back when Olmsted designed these parks, they didn't put in park identification signs. Kind of identifying your park at the entrances, wasn't something that they thought of. Wayfinding wasn't really a sort of scientific effort to sort of help people navigate their way through. It was just, here's the park, find it or not. Over the years, there was a previous signage standard for the city of Buffalo that looking some newspaper articles from 1998 when they were rethinking it for the first time. They were saying it was horribly deteriorated, illegible, and poorly located. Those signs were more like the county signs that included the mayor was written on the sign, the parks commissioner was written on the sign, on these like replaceable slats, just concrete and wood, fairly unattractive. The comments at the time were that, we need a unified sort of identifiable sort of theme for the parks. We need to remove all the signage clutter, and we need to make these signs focused on what's important, which is finding the parks, who's in power at the time in terms of mayor and the parks commissioner. So some interesting research on my side, but basically arrived at, we've got the best signage standards we've had. We're making improvements to those, and we're moving in the right direction. But always good to sort of double check myself on that stuff. The last thing before we take a little bit of a pause for just general comments and catch up on project we've gone through is Ring Road survey. So I mentioned the last meeting, we were planning to put a survey out with the city of Buffalo. We did that on March 1st, having it up bilingual, both in English and Spanish, through the end of this month. So only 10 more days to get your voice heard with regard to the future plans for the use of the ring roads in Delaware Park and South Park. This being the South District, I'd like to sort of pause again. Please fill out the survey, but if there's anything on your mind right here and now, we can sort of talk these things through as a group. But again, we're encouraging everybody to get their info down and their thoughts down on the survey. We've had tremendous response thus far, and we're going to be working with the city once we shut the survey down to compile, sort through, and sort of report out on what we heard. But again, so this project or any other projects within your district. All right, I think everybody's on board as we're going along. But again, that survey down at the bottom, if you have not gotten to it, or anyone you can send this along to, go to our website, Road Surveys. So with that, I'm gonna turn it over to Z. To give us a little talk about our development team and our promotions and our exciting events.
One question.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
During the improvements on the path on the creek, are they gonna cut back the trees and the brush?
Yep, that is phase one, clearing and grubbing, I think, putting at least 5 feet back off the existing path.
Yeah.
There's also gonna be a little bit of realignment of that path, pulling sections of it slightly further away, kind of feathering out the mound. And then I think once we get the brush cleared, we're gonna make an effort to sort of keep it that way as we can, because the path will be more accessible for our equipment, which will make everything that much easier. So yes.
Don't
short
cut it back
answer.
too much, the kids won't have a spot to drink.
Keep that in mind.
Go in your backyard. I didn't like that.
We'll get that comment in the notes there.
Don't need to.
Any other? I was gonna pause. I did go through a few projects there. You guys any thoughts? All right, Z, take it away.
Hi everyone, thank you for letting me do my spiel on Olmsted 200. I will be re-sharing my screen. Zach, can you verify if that's on Zoom?
Yes.
So Olmsted 200 is 2022. Frederick Olmsted, the guy who designed our Olmsted parks in Buffalo, as well as nationwide and even in other countries in the world, he turns 200 this year. So it's a national campaign hosted by the National Association for Olmsted Parks, and the Buffalo Olmsted Parks Conservancy is really proud and grateful to be a partner in this national bicentennial celebration. So for Buffalo, we are naming our tagline is Buffalo isn't Beefalo without flow.
Yeah.
So we'll be celebrating starting this month on April 22nd with Earth Day all the way through next year, April 26th. So it's a year-long campaign considering his 200th birthday. So we are starting with a big volunteer event on April 22nd, and Zach Garland is hosting that. And on April 23rd is a free documentary screening at the North Park Theater on Hurdle Avenue. So that will be 2 documentaries on Frederick Olmsted's Designing America and Designing Western Europe. Free, and we hope everyone can join us. On April 26th, this is actual 200th birthday. So we'll be having a official birthday party, beer, everyone.
Okay.
And
Sure.
like birthday trees and everything will be a fun celebration, free admission as well. And we hope that if you're free the evening, come and join us. There'll be a community cheers with everyone holding our drinks at 6 p.m. So that will be at Resurgence Brewing in the Opus Ward. That considered
Chicago Street.
Yeah, Chicago Street, that's right. And we're also hoping to light up the different landmarks throughout the city, such as Niagara Falls, Electric Tower, and downtown Buffalo. And on April 29, as Margaret shared just now, we will be announcing the completion of phase 1 of the South Park Arboretum, as well as the upcoming updates for phase 2 of the South Park Arboretum. So more information on that will be hopefully in the press, and we'll be pushing our press release as well as on our website. So that's for April, and ending off April with the Buffalo Cherry Blossom Festival, which is coming back in person this year. So we've been on virtual for the past 2 years due to COVID, so we're really excited to bring it back, and that will be at the Japanese Garden in Downward Park. Continuing on to May 19 is our Spring to Summer Luncheon, also back in person since the past 2 years at Kleinhans, and we hope that you can join us if you're interested in donning your hats and bow ties. That will be our first major fundraiser for the year. And then on June 21st, this year at Front Park, we will be attempting to take back the Guinness World Records for the longest line of garden flamingos. And I say take back because we actually broke it, but someone broke our record, so we're going to break it again. And this year we are at Front Park instead of, so previously we did it at Bedrock Parkway, but this year our record's gonna be much, much bigger, so we're doing it at Front Park. And Front Park is near Porter Avenue by the Peace Bridge. And on July 15, a BPO concert right here in the South District at Casanova Park.
Oh.
So we're really excited for this. So last year, if
Yeah.
any of you attended, the BPO went to every different park for the concerts. So this year we chose Cash Park because it's good enough space. It has brought out lots of people, and we're hoping in this time
Yeah,
this
like,
is the best parking system. So we're really excited to bring the entire Philharmonic Orchestra to the district and at Casanova Park. Free admission as well. Please tell as many people as you can. And on September 9th, 20th Gala at the Delaware District. And we'll be rounding off the year with all these events, as well as all the regular events that we have, such as walking tours, movie nights, and all that stuff. So we are still hoping to host a movie night at Casanova Park this year in the fall. More information on that to come. Anyone have questions? Yes.
The concert, the BPO thing, is it in like the evening, or it's the, you said the evening, it's just don't
Yes,
have,
it's
you
most
don't have a
likely
time
evening.
there, okay?
Yep. So more information on that to come, and we will be sure to send an email to all the OCA folks here.
Well,
Any
the
questions?
summer is full of programs, so it's gotta get in the
Yes.
calendar now, I think.
You're right. Oh my gosh. So yes, we will definitely put it out as soon as we can.
Yeah,
So this is mainly the Olmsted 200 campaign, and we really hope that everyone can join us. And if you can adopt a flamingo, it's up for pre-adoption now, pre-adoption, and then you can come to the event on June 21st itself to pick them up and then put them in your lawn for the summer. Cool. All right, I'll hand it back to Brian. Thank you for.
How's that look? Sorry.
How does it look on the? Cool.
Good. Yep. Good. All right. Great. So thank you, Z. And I'm going to bring up another special guest, Zach Garland, is to talk about an effort that we're sort of kicking off again in this 200th year. Are these community volunteer days we're trying to do within each district, specifically talking about the opportunity in District 2. Zach?
Thank you, Brian. So as Brian mentioned, really trying to make a concerted effort this year to do more community-based volunteer events. A lot of what I do during the spring through summer through fall seasons is work with volunteers, but through corporations, businesses, organizations, not the actual people who live around and use the park the most. So again, what we want to try to do, what the plan is, May 14th, it's a Saturday, is a day that we're looking to try to get as many community members out as possible to help us plant our South Buffalo circles. A lot of which, could use the help, but it would be a huge help to us, and hopefully would be a good thing for anybody here or anybody who would know that would like to help out and assist in a project like that. Again, it would be May 14th, and I'll be sending follow-up emails about that. Time to be determined, the time we're looking for, maybe a 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. But we'll certainly open that up to see what will work for most people. May 14th, Saturday, community day, no outside organizations, community people who live in South Buffalo use the parks the most to assist with something like that. Something to really kind of like make it real, really to hold on and give you that that validation of helping out in South Buffalo circles.
Yeah, if you guys don't come out, this is gonna be me by myself. So come on.
It'll be a lot longer than 12 o'clock at the after. So
Yeah.
Oh, no.
please come help us out. But again, follow-up emails will be sent out. We really hope to see you out there.
What do you guys think in terms of like morning, afternoon on a Saturday? What works better for you guys if you're thinking about it?
Wow. I'm buffed in the morning. I'm just gonna say. Don't worry about it.
Mornings.
Morning makes sense. If you guys are able to get me any information like prior to May 1st, on May 1st, usually the very beginning is when we send out our district email.
Great.
And then it's like 500.
Great.
500 people. So
Okay.
yeah, if you
Good to
send us
know.
something. All right,
Thank you very much.
no problem.
Also, I don't know about
this community center, but I know they send out a newsletter.
This one
And
does,
there's like
yes.
1,000 people, I think the director told me he sends it to, so
Wow.
maybe,
Yes.
and then he puts them out around the community, so maybe getting in there before me as well would be great.
Yeah, good to know. Thank you.
How many people do you need?
It'll vary. I mean, we certainly don't need 1,000, but anywhere between, I mean, we can cap it at about 30 or so.
30.
Yeah, especially working in the circles, we don't want too many people to kind of get lost in the shuffle, especially, being around that. We want to make sure it's safe for everybody as well.
Yeah, we'll get like a sign up site. If we get a good group, they'll probably do both projects at once versus everyone in one spot, everyone in the other
Yeah.
spot. But yeah, this is kind of building on a project. We've had cars drive through the circles, so we had to rip out some plant material out of both. So we cleared out the center. There was also some issues with the height of vegetation. So we've got them cleared. We're ready. We're gonna, it's gonna be a nice gratifying project, planting shrubs. And if we have them ready, plant out the annuals as well.
We'll put some Jersey barriers around the circle for a while, just so make sure. I'm kidding.
That's out of the phase 2.
Phase 2.
Yes. All right, great. So again, more information to come on that. All right, now citing transition here to our conversations that have been ongoing and concerns and some progress on them. We've been talking probably the last couple meetings with regard to the effectiveness of the traffic calming with the speed humps north of the bridge and the need to continue that project south of the bridge. So I know that the council member's been on top of this issue. I followed up with the Department of Public Works and Engineering, and they have no issues with it. And they said, you guys are on the same page, and Olmsted, you want to write me a letter of support, we'll put it on the list. So recommendation here, just sort of thinking about locations and spacing them out. The initial thought would be 3 locations, one right before you get to the bridge, right where pedestrians are doing a lot of crossing. I'm getting an echo here.
No.
Hear myself a little bit. And then again, just sort of spacing them out. We're imagining not give anyone too much of a runway to get too much speed up. Any other thoughts beyond this in terms of locations to install? Thoughts, 2 or 3? Again, this is really more just a sort of following the sort of basics of what we've done than any real science to it. So I think we're all on the same page to be an effective process to address a concern. Wishing, I think Jim was here. He's been banging the drum on this issue for a couple meetings now. But great. So I think we'll get and see progress moving on that. Another comment that came up at our last meeting was specifically crosswalk markings, pedestrian access at Abbott Road and Red Jacket. So again, following up with the city and that Abbott Road project, Abbott Road Phase 1. So it took us basically up to the park, and they are they've got funding to go through design. Consultants are still doing survey and preliminary design development, and there are going to be upcoming community meetings to talk about this and talk with the project manager. There's a great opportunity to make significant improvements specifically at this intersection here. So again, as I hear about these meetings, I'll be at these meetings, but also I'll share that information as going forward. But I think, this is the right time to get engaged in this process. If this intersection is of concern to you, or, again, Abbott Road Phase 2 as a whole. So we'll keep you in the loop on that. Conversation about tree planting and sort of what is Olmsted doing with regard to our tree planting efforts. I wanted to take an opportunity to share a little bit about our Olmsted Naturally Committee, and specifically our Olmsted Natural Areas, which is a program that we've sort of been slowly implementing over a few years. We've implemented it. We found, community concerns or misunderstanding. We'd scale it back a little bit, re-implement it, but it's a goal of the Conservancy to be more sustainable in our efforts, and specifically our staff-driven committee, Olmsted Naturally, sort of focused on things like improving our composting, invasive species management, our Olmsted natural areas and native plantings, increasing ecology, and also we've partnered with other activities. This iNaturalist group with the sort of opportunity to sort of engage the community in identifying native species and all this sort of stuff. So always working, but sort of slow and incremental. The one sort of key effort that we're really trying to sort of fine tune is our Olmsted natural areas, our ONAs, what we're calling them. These are basically sort of naturalized areas, sort of bring back a little of the sort of diversity to the landscape. The objective of them is increasing the ecology of the parks. If it's all lawn and trees, somewhat of a sterile environment from an ecological standpoint. Also reducing mowing, promotes sustainability, sort of lets our operations staff focus on some other things if they're not mowing acres and acres and acres of land. But also the long-term goal, the overall goal is to increase and beautify the parks. So if we're not accomplishing that, we're not accomplishing the objectives of the entire effort. The benefits, again, biodiversity, habitat for beneficial pollinators, which are insects or butterflies or small birds, breaking up the monotony of landscape, reducing our use of fossil fuels, and again, increases our ability to educate, both actively and sort of passively through our programs and our website, what's going on out in the parks. There are two types of these Olmsted natural areas. There's one that we call our pollinator meadow, and there's another area that we call the woodland regeneration area. And the main difference between the two is the pollinator meadow is a lawn that, again, we have pollinators grow up, but basically everything is cut down to the ground every year. The woodland regeneration area would be an area that's currently just 100-year-old trees and lawn, and we're looking to sort of rebuild more of a woodland look and feel. So we would be encouraging saplings, we would be planting saplings, we might add shrubs, and again, we would be doing selective management of those things moving forward. But again, with all these things, it really comes down to our maintenance standards and our procedures and following through on them and how well these things work out. And again, sort of with that, it's in the technical stuff here, but there's a review that we do and we share with the city, and that's again analyzing, are we being successful in achieving our desired goals, and identifying any changes to our maintenance plan, the plant material, the size and shape and location of these areas as we implement them. But again, with regard to daily maintenance, these things, when you stop the mowing, they become sort of litter magnets. So again, making sure we're going in and picking up the trash each day. Again, we're managing the vegetation. Things like invasive species, we're identifying and we're ripping them out year round. We're not letting them take hold. But even the plant material that is good and desirable in there, we don't want to create sort of areas of sightline issues or safety issues. So again, we're even managing the good vegetation to make sure it's not getting out of line with the community's expectations for their parks. So again, we're doing that a little bit in the spring and fall. But then again, anything that's not those desirable trees and shrubs in our woodland regeneration areas, mowing those down every year. We're maintaining our fences to make sure they're not looking shabby. Monitoring them for any cut-through traffic issues, because cut-through traffic might be, hey, we need to redesign this area to sort of let this traffic flow or redirect that traffic to appropriate areas. So monitoring those, and then also the most important thing is explaining what we're doing in a useful way, which involves having signage out there. So again, this is something that, again, we've been implementing slowly. We're looking to increase it. Some of the areas that we're thinking about in Casanova Park is re-representing the original islands. If we look back at the history of this park, this entire sort of south area, just shy of Tosh Collins Pool and the ice rink, was was part of the lake, was part of the creek's expanse. And reinterpreting those sort of wooded island areas out in the middle there, they're densely vegetated, just sort of enhancing that a little further is something that we're thinking about for Cas Park. So again, want to get people engaged in the process, understanding the goals, and again, the conversation will continue along as we sort of think about the implementation of these sorts of things. So any sort of questions about that or any of the 3 projects I ran through thus far? Response to concerns? Great. This was another sort of research project related to community concerns of park security, vandalism issues, and somebody brought up the idea of park ranger program here in District 2. So again, put my research team to work and just got some very interesting information to chew on a little bit with regard to that actually did happen back here in Buffalo. So in 1984, a very bizarre program occurred for what I understand to be 1 year, an urban park ranger program funded by the DEC under the direction of the Erie County Forester, spread across both city and county parks. They hired 24 park rangers that were both doing sort of rule enforcement and good behavior encouraging, as well as being ambassadors and doing first aid. So there's a lot of red flags with the idea of bringing that program back, across municipal boundaries, doing first aid, how we would actually sort of roll this sort of thing out. But it was just sort of an interesting starting point for this conversation in terms of things that have happened. We do know that the county has a pretty robust park ranger program. So again, a starting point for furthering conversation, which again, is part of what this group's about and the conversation want to keep going. But additionally, and sort of more short-term in nature, we do have security cameras installed in Cas Park, monitoring both the shelter building and the casino building. We do need to sort of strengthen our partnership with the city of Buffalo and specifically the community police officer program and sort of keeping them engaged in not only the conversation in this room, but how we can partner better. And then as well, both Zach and I, as well as our executive director, beginning of this year, went through a program called CPTED, which is crime prevention through environmental design. So we're going to continue to sort of, from what we learned there, engage in how we can maybe implement, safety efforts through design projects and through capital projects. So it's going to be sort of an all hands on deck, multifaceted approach, but park safety and security is going to be something that we continue to focus on over the coming quarters and years of our work. Great announcements. The city of Buffalo on March 10th published their Parks Master Plan. Hopefully this is old news to everybody and they've already read the whole thing.
Yeah.
But if you have not, you can go to the city's website and it's right online there for you, right on the main page at the site or at the site at the bottom. You can also go directly to the Division of Parks and Recreation and click on the link, and the master plan is right there. But a lot of good information, a lot of good data gathered together in one spot. And again, at the request of the first of our district meetings up in Riverside, they asked, what does this mean for Riverside Park? And they asked me to tell them that. I said, okay, next meeting, I'm going to come back and I'm going to tell you what this means for Riverside Park. So I'm going to look at this through the filter of each of our districts and lay out a little more information, but encourage everyone to do the same in terms of getting into this very, very thorough, very lengthy process that the city went through in doing their master planning effort. So again, please go to those sites and get this information. Also, just want to sort of give a shout out to the planning department. They are also going through a sort of neighborhood effort. I think they must have already hit the South Buffalo district because in terms of the announcements of their meetings, they sort of are getting towards the end. and Seneca Badcock Community Center for the Seneca Badcock neighborhood is the last one on their list. But encourage you to go if you're not aware of this effort, just take to their site and do the Envisioning Neighborhood Survey. I think they're, again, looking to get input, you know, in the way we're looking to get input on the parks, on sort of community development, you know, economic development through, you know, commercial districts, neighborhoods, and sort of strengthening all of those things. So city planning department, again, getting out there into the community as well. And I imagine this will continue with multiple rounds of this community engagement. So again, check it out. The last thing I think, now I'm going to pause and go back because I wrote a note to myself here. One thing I forgot to put a map on was after this last meeting, Simon reached out and asked about bike racks within our park system. Our bike racks within Cass Park, but sort of expanded it on, you know what, we do need to do analysis of how we're providing parking for cyclists throughout the park system. So I did forget to include the map in this presentation, but the council members, staff, and I have been back and forth, and we are looking at basically several different spots focusing on the facilities. So parking around the casino, parking around the shelter building, parking at the playground, and parking at the tennis courts and basketball courts have sort of been the areas that rose to the top. But I will get that slide into the presentation when we post it online. Again, without a visual, if anyone has any additional thoughts about if they were riding a bike into Cass Park and where they would want to put it, you know, Simon and I have already had some conversation offline that I'll get in notes. But if anyone has any other thoughts on bike access or any of the sort of city efforts that I went through, pause for a second before I hit this final topic on park spending and open it up.
What about a charging stand for electric bikes?
Charging stand for electric bikes. What? Hey, we can follow up on that. That's a great note. What would that entail? Is that just like a 3-prong, or is I'm really out of the loop on what an electric bike needs?
It's like a 120 outlet, I think, most times. But
There's different connections for there using bikes. That's just a plug-in. It's separate.
Plug. They would have their own cord.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, interesting. It's I knew never would have thought about it, but yeah, we're getting into electric bikes these days. Any other thoughts? All right, great. Well, we're going to continue this, and again, we're working through a number of sort of design standards. So as we move this forward, you know, there'll be multiple things moving on in that regard. So last thing, you know, there was a conversation we got into last meeting with regard to investment with parks and where money is going and how it's being distributed amongst the district. And just wanted to get back and provide some data to sort of help us continue this conversation. So again, in 2008, the Conservancy published the Plan for the 21st Century, which was really the first effort to do a major master plan for the restoration of all of the Olmsted parks in the system at once. There have been, you know, master plan efforts for each of the parks, but this is sort of looking comprehensively. And since 2008 to 2018, there has been investment based on that master plan, and just sort of tracking that across the system and the distribution. There was about $36 million invested in the parks over the first 10 years since the master plan. The big concern has always been the investment between Delaware Park and the rest of the system. And you know, I think we always sort of hoped that we were very equal in terms of how we did our fundraising and efforts we made. And it does sort of turn out that in general, it is relatively equal, you know, with in terms of our districts. So thinking about the Front and Riverside District, and MLK Park getting a significant investment sort of above and beyond the rest of the system. So that was the first 10 years. So basically District 4, Delaware District versus District 2, South District was 5.6 million in South District, 5.5 in Delaware. So pretty even, which was good to hear. And again, the goal. With regard to the 5-year plan, again, we've made a significant effort and a lot of big projects line themselves up for the South District. So in terms of our goals for this 5-year plan, South District is getting a major investment in terms of its goal. Again, some system-wide studies. West District, again, sort of lesser so. Delaware, relatively low, and MLK a little bit more. So that was the goal. In terms of where we are today, in terms of that investment, all told, Sarah, you probably can't read this terribly well, but roughly about $13.5 million allocated based on the plan to the Olmsted Park system. And again, that breakdown by district: West District 1.6 roughly, South District 3.8, MLK. We did get significant resources dedicated through Empire State Development. There was an East Side redevelopment effort. We were able to grab $4 million of that effort. So a significant investment again in the MLK district. And Delaware at this point had a 2.27. So again, we are making an effort to make our investments across the system equally. And I think, sort of the information is bearing that, we are doing that. And we hope to continue that. And we just, hope to encourage people to sort of see that, that sometimes your impressions don't necessarily match the reality of what's happening. But again, we're always just trying to build information and communication and dialogue. And again, we'll sort of keep bringing this data back to the table. So one thing that had the information at my fingertips, let me just pull it together and share. So with that, and the 15 minutes we've got left, to open it up to new issues and concerns across the system. Simon.
Well, I just actually, Earth Day is coming up Friday, and I wanted just to plug in that there's a lot of neighborhood cleanups going on Saturday, and I'm going to plug mine, and I'm going to plug my friend Sarah's, and then there's including one at Casanova Park happening between 10 and noon. I'm not the site captain for that one, but that's through the that's through the Waterkeeper, Buffalo Niagara Waterkeeper. I'm also doing a site on the Seneca Bluffs between 10 and noon. And then through the Western Trash Mob, Sarah is doing a cleanup along Seneca Street, which I think is probably the most pressing need. Our business districts, our neighborhoods, our houses, it all flows to our stormwater and flows to our water sources. And our streets need to be cleaned up. So I hope anyone's listening on Zoom or in this audience, take part in a neighborhood cleanup. I would highly suggest Sarah's because honestly, well, no, mine's sold out. Mine's already sold out. People,
Mine's almost sold out too.
Yeah.
Limited space, so sign up quick.
It's an exclusive opportunity.
Exclusive.
I'll make space for you.
Yeah. I don't know what it means to be sold out, but they basically couldn't register online for mine because they said it's already filled with 20 people registered. And the same with the Casanova Park one, but there's always room for more people,
Sure. Did you give a website or a place to?
That's a great, I should be plugging that. It's if you Google Buffalo Niagara Waterkeeper Spring Sweep, you would find the registration page and you can register online. Or, just pop in 10 a.m. I'm the site captain for Seneca Bluffs. Or where are you meeting for?
We're meeting at the casino, but we'll be right in the business corridor, Seneca Street, Kansas.
if you see trash, you want to pick it up on Cash Street, you're already part of the team, right? Yeah. So you get started anywhere. Yeah, I know Zach is coordinated with the water keepers on their efforts every Earth Day. I know Jimmy helps out with sort of the collected trash piles and coordinating with the city as well up in Delaware. They do that as well. So
You know, and
So,
what
yeah.
I'm learning too is, and I don't know if this is the right space to voice this, but there's a lot of different cleanups, like by the city, by water keepers, like it would be awesome for next Earth Day to find a way to funnel that information so that we're not duplicating efforts and it's getting voice to the neighbors that would really be excited to participate in it.
100%.
that's great. Yeah, I mean, that is the goal of this, is really to sort of get all the conversations happening here. I mean, I don't think we necessarily need to be the convener of everything on the planet, but again, as much as we can sort of help cross promote, we certainly want to. So yeah, I think that's a good goal for not only every spring is always huge, but maybe throughout the year, maybe we can sort of think proactively about how we sort of share that promotion. I do know Western New York Land Conservancy had been functioning in that role, and I think they still are to some capacity. I haven't connected in with the Land Conservancy. No, sorry, not the Land Conservancy. The Western New York Environmental Alliance
Okay.
had been a convener of environmental groups and sort of done some of that. I'm a little out of the loop in terms of what they're up to, but that's a good point, and I'll certainly loop back on that. Anything else? Any sort of new issues out there?
It's not a new issue, but it's a question. The city 5-year or whatever parks plan that was publicized, to what extent does that use the same metrics definitions as Olmsted Park does when they do their version of things? In other words, is it possible to compare apples to apples across the two park systems?
That's a good question. I again had sort of given myself the deadline of next meeting to give a good report out. I haven't had the opportunity to really dive into the document too deeply since some earlier drafts. But I am going to be on a train for about 10 hours on Friday. So I'm planning to bring a copy of that and dig into it a little bit. So those are great questions. And I think, I mean, being able to sort of look at all the metrics in the same way, and if that means maybe we alter the way we track things to sort of make those align, that's a good recommendation. Sort of make sure our planning is comprehensive. Great comment. Any other thoughts?
Frank, I share a golf update.
Golf update? You want to go before
Agenda
at the front? Or?
Watch that, Bill.
Okay.
Let's not have the floor here.
Yeah, I did a ride around with Greg last week to express my concerns about the golf clubs. And I didn't know if you wanted me to express any of them or.
Yeah,
Or
I
just
think the
leave it.
big one, Brian, can you share with the group or else I can as well, just sort of on the golf course, there's a lot of benches that have been either hit or damaged or missing over the years. And can you just touch on their kind of commemorative bench program and sort of the plan for replacing benches as we have empty pads and no benches in them currently? That's one big thing. And then I can touch on some of our forestry conversations.
Yeah, so the Conservancy does have a commemorative program. It covers, as Greg said, benches, ornamental benches, planting trees, planting roses in our rose garden, and then basically that is so through our development team. You can again work with our commemorative gifting manager to work on selecting species in the site, your favorite park. Benches, we do have designated locations. Some of them exist already, like on the golf course.
Yeah, they do.
Some of them are sort of aspirational locations that we would love people to purchase. And as a part of that, that is the level of commemoration. It covers the purchase of a very ornate wood and iron bench, the the pouring of the pad if needed, the installation and the maintenance of that bench, and you get a bronze plaque with 4 lines of text, so you can, sort of provide honoring, commemorating, a date, special person, a loved one, right on that bench. So again, through our website, you can get connected into that, but certainly a great program, and if it's serving the purpose of fixing a broken bench, that's even more urgent and valuable a need.
Yeah, it seems like every time, for one reason or another, that the bench gets destroyed, just don't replace it. I mean, there's 4 of them, and ironically, they're on the ladies/seniors tees, people who probably need to sit the most. And it's 3, 4, 5, and 7 that are missing.
Yeah,
So I mean, and it seems to increase every year, and then they don't get replaced. So it would be nice.
The other thing I mentioned, Brian, is like as people want to purchase commemorative benches at locations where there's already a bench, through that program, we purchase a new bench, and then the current bench that's out there is able to be relocated to an existing pad somewhere else in the system. So we're not only waiting for somebody to actually commemorate those benches on the golf course, but we're also looking for someone who commemorates a location that's already an existing bench. We can then move that on to the golf course, or to the other existing pads where these have been damaged. But yeah, I guess it's just a system-wide effort. The other thing is, especially on the golf courses, Delaware it might be the worst culprit of this, but there's a lot of non-standard benches on the course. There's some out there that are just 2x6s that are painted green that are currently being utilized, and we're really making a conscious effort to have one bench style throughout the entire park system. As these older ones get damaged or not replaced immediately, it's because we're working through this new process of having all benches the same.
Yeah. So certainly, it sounds like those should be put at the top of the list in terms of as benches become available, get them out there so people break.
Yeah, I mean, stuff happens, and it'd be nice to get them replaced. Go ahead, Sherry.
In front of the shelter house at the golf course in Casanova, there's a monument
Yes.
dedicated to a gentleman found at the municipal baseball leagues. Now, when you're done golfing, you like to sit under the veranda, have a cocktail or something to dine on. You cannot see what's going on in the golf course.
No sightlines whatsoever.
No sight lines at all.
Is the big monument?
Yes, it's a baseball, it's Mulray. It should be in Mulray Park.
A few years ago, if I'm not mistaken, they spent a little over $3 million rehabbing Mulroy Park over here behind Holy Family Church. I think it would have been appropriate to take this monument over to where this Mulroy Park is.
It's a baseball monument.
It's a
It'd be
baseball
nice.
monument.
It's a nice monument, but in the wrong. And the workers can't see what's going on either, on the golf course, because you have this huge monument that's blocking their sight lines from everything. So it could be a safety hazard.
It's right in front of the main exit.
Yep. Oh, yeah, I know it. Well, yeah, I've
And God forbid, if we have anything going on inside there, we have to get clear of that building. We're gonna be running right into a monument.
Yeah. So there is a process. We're actually going through this in Front Park with a monument that it's actually the Kiwanis Club that put it in back in the 1920s, and they want to relocate it to a more logical spot with the removal of the Peace Bridge. So it's a process through the Arts Commission. It involves coordination with the Conservation Board and Parks, but the process is a few-page sheet. We'll do our due diligence on exactly what got that monument in that location to understand it, or who put it there.
Nobody can give me an answer.
But yeah, it's basically there's a procedure to approve that kind of thing, and then there's obviously costs associated with that relocation. But that's the interesting thing, and if it's not only just an oddly placed monument, but it's serving some sort of creating some sort of functional problem, I think that that's a logical thing to get on the list to sort of move along in the process. So great great point. Yeah, we'll in 3 months, we'll have a little more information on that.
I guess, how many, you got, what, 2 people assigned to the forestry for all the parks?
We were 3 people assigned. We did just lose one of our forestry techs. And
Do you actually think that's enough for all the parks?
Oh, well, I think, yeah, I think, the idea is, I think if you ask every district, they're gonna say, nobody's got enough for all the parks, so, yes.
Where
certainly.
actually have they come from? I mean, who pays them? The Olmsted or the city or the county?
Yep, those are Olmsted employees.
So in other words, the budget would have to be increased for Olmsted for you to hire additional forestry people.
Yes, yeah, the Conservancy budget would need to be increased. And then again, the city of Buffalo, we have a contract with the city, so they give us a certain amount of funding. We do additional fundraising on top of that to sort of meet our budget needs.
A few years ago, we had various companies, tree companies come in. I haven't seen that one.
Oh, I'd love to hear an update on that if I.
Yeah, but Greg, if you want to give
Yeah,
an update.
so with the overall golf updates, I guess I'd start with our Delaware Park, 18 holes up in Delaware is open. We had a soft opening last Thursday, so we're open at Delaware. We're working towards CAS, but towards South, well, both CAS and South. But South is still super soggy, so we're ways away from opening South Park. But Casanova Park, we're opening Saturday. Yeah, so we're gonna be all full steam ahead in CAS on Saturday. But specific to what you were just mentioning about the tree care companies, each Arbor Day, the local tree care companies volunteer their time. We bounce around the system, so if you haven't seen them in CAS in a while, it's because they've kind of been bouncing around. Last year, they were up in Delaware Park, and they were in South Park the year before that. But this year, they are coming back to Casanova Park to do a lot of the heavy removals and things. There's going to be 5 companies and 4 vendor sponsors that are showing up. That's on Saturday, the 30th is when that tree care day is. And those companies come in with all kinds of high-tech equipment and things. They're in just that day of their volunteer service, they factor in like the time, the employees and the equipment they use, it adds up to almost like $100,000 worth of donated services. So it makes a huge difference to have those experts come in and supplement what I heard earlier, our clearly understaffed 3-person forestry in-house team can do. So it is great to see them out on the golf course.
Will they be in the golf course also?
Yes, yeah, but it's all focused on the golf course. Actually, they're doing a couple of stump removals just outside this building at the intersection of Abbott and Warren Spawn. There were a couple of trees removed, but then they're just moving into the golf course, taking care of a lot of the larger trees in the golf course. And a lot of those, when you and I did our ride around, a lot of those piles of stuff.
Yeah.
It's challenging for our forestry team and the equipment with only bobcats to get into it because it's going to run off the place.
Yeah.
These guys have specialized equipment that's a lot lighter. It's on tracks that are wider, and they can get that stuff out of there much easier than our can. So big after that weekend, after the 30th, I think there'll be a real marked improvement in the forestry of golf course and Cass Park in general.
Oh, thank you.
All right, so yeah, so just so you brought it up, we're bringing it back to CAS in 10 days. How about that? Right on the golf course. Okay, we are at 7 o'clock. Again, just to sort of close out, we are, come on, help me close out. We are continuing to sort of connect. So if any community groups, recreation groups, businesses, cultural organizations, please send that information our way. Again, any recommendations on how to do better outreach, get more people engaged in this community, into these meetings, please send that information our way. Feedback on the agenda, how we run these meetings, anything. Zach Garland, our community outreach manager, Zach, Z-A-C-H @bfloparks.org. Please send information his way. We again want to make these meetings as engaging and as interesting as possible. I'm going to try and again get a little more design feedback involved in these meetings. That's some early feedback I've gotten, so we're gonna continue to evolve, see how we go through them. There will be meetings in between, but again, you can join our Facebook group and stay engaged through the website. Just simply at our website with /OCA. I know about our upcoming meetings, but we're meeting again July 20th. Back here, probably in this room, unless something changes to give us a new location. But thanks again for your participation, and please keep the conversation going as we move along. Thanks a lot.